Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Kay from the Paper Shed. Thanks for popping on and joining me. This is part 4 of the White Rose Detective Agency chapter 2, the case of the Peculiar Butler. Isn't it fantastic? We've had some great input so far, and the last 2 videos that I've put in, I've had loads and loads of questions and support and everything. So I just want to let you know that I will be doing my journal from beginning to end throughout the next 5 weeks on film. So I just wanted to go through the whole process with you because there's a lot of beginners in the group. There's a lot of people who are interested in the actual storyline and, wanting to know more. And it really is just to give you an insight into, how to achieve what you want to make. And I'm hoping that I'm doing that. Now, I do cut an awful lot out of my videos when I'm inking or I quicken it up. If you are a beginner and you miss something or you don't completely get the idea, please do message me because I will get back to all of you. I've had such great feedback and I'm really, really appreciative of all your support. It just means the world to me. So what we're going to do today is we're now on to where we start to fill up our signature with what we want to add. Now we got to this page the other day and I just managed to get a pocket in with some journaling cards and some tags. So I'll do as much as I can on film. I'm trying to cut out sort of the inking and the cutting up of things. It is going to be inevitable that because we don't know what we're putting on each page as yet, that we will have to have a bit of that. So just bear with me. I will quicken it up or I'll take it out of the video. So what I tend to do when I first have a look at my signature and what I want to achieve in it. Now, because of the first one that I did was, it was mainly the story. And what I'm trying to achieve with this is I want to make a journal. I don't want to do, I want the story incorporated, but in the way that Mandy's produced the storyline this time is enabled me to make those into pages. And it's just great. So I've sort of thought about how I want to do it, and I do want to make this a writing journal. So I just think the idea is absolutely fabulous. So we have the story here and here, the beginning of the story anyway, the introduction. And the other day I said I wish I'd put this pocket on the inside of here. Now I'm glad I didn't, because if you haven't seen Mandy's video yet of the ID cards, do go across and have a look, because that's what I'm going to be putting in here. So it's worked out great that I missed those 2 pages. So what I tend to do is I tend to make a list. So I go through each page. So this is my page 1 and 2. And I'm now going to put the ID cards in here and make them pockets. So that will fill that up. Then I've got the story and the introductory to it all. And then we come to page 5. And I was initially going to just leave this as it is, which I still am. But I want to add like a note or some case file or something like that on here. So I've added that to my list. And what I tend to do is I go through each page. So this is a journal page. This we completed. Then these are journal pages. They're completely blank. Then we come to page 10. So I don't want to cover this policeman up. I absolutely love this policeman. It just makes me smile every time I see him. It's like a panic. And I just want to put another pocket on there or something. I don't know what. I was going to do a belly band, but thought I don't want to cover him up as such. So it's probably going to be a pocket. So I write that down. So I label all the pages that I want to create on. So all these blank pages are going to be left for now. I might tab them. I might put just a page cluster on or a border, page border, something to decorate it up. But it's not where I'm going to be adding extra pockets and things. So I only mark my pages where I know I want to add something to it. So we've got page 17 here. And I tend to do that with the pages that aren't really journal pages, that have got things on them. So we've got page 17. Then we've got an awful lot of plain pages there. Then we've got this double feature. Now I do quite like this, and I don't mind leaving that. And it might be that I do in the end, but I've labelled it up for now because normally on a signature centre I tend to do a double spread of some sort. Now it might just be that I'll just add an envelope in. I just don't know what I'm going to do, so we'll sort that when we come to it, but it's on my list. So it's my double spread centre, and we'll see how that goes. Then we've got lots of more sort of blank pages here. Then we come to page 39, and we've got the lovely tuppence on there. So I want to do something on that. More journaling pages. We've got the agency picture here. So I want to do something on page 44. And then this is a double spread. So I want to do something on the back here. And then I may do something for my cover. I'm not going to, I've decided to put my tickets here, my tags here. Now I cut off the top of my tags because I wanted to clip it onto there properly. So I cut those off, and these have gone in order. So this is the White Rose Agency. They're having tea and cake. Tuppence is asleep on the chair. Then the policeman knocks. So they go off on the motorbike and Tuppence watches them go. So that's my storyline in tags there. And all I've done with these is I've just backed them, and then I've just stenciled over the back and I've inked them up. So if you need to see that process, then let me know, because I'm trying to do that sort of thing off camera. So what we want to try and do then is do something for 1 and 2. Now I've got the index cards, which I'm going to put on there, and I'm going to put some pockets and then find a label. So we're going to do a few pages today of just ephemera and getting that sorted. And then what I will do normally after I've filled up my pages, I'll go through the book where the empty pages are, and I'll just add a little bit of a cluster or maybe a page tab or something. So I like to sort of have an idea. So I do a list first of the pages that need pockets and, tuck spots and all of that. And then I make a list of, all the ephemera bits that I'm thinking of putting in. So tuck spots, belly band, clusters, pockets, added ephemera, hidden paper clips, page tab clusters, normal tabs, all of that sort of thing can go in my signature. So we will be doing that throughout this one and perhaps another one, because I think we'll probably have it'll be too long otherwise for you to sit and watch it all in one go. So I think we'll get on and do the first 2 pages, which is page 1 and 2, and it's going to be my ID card. And as I say, if you haven't been to see Mandy's video yet, do go across and have a look. There is freebies for you, and a couple of pages of freebies, and it's just a fantastic way of incorporating it into your journal. So we're going to do that. So I'll be back when I'm sorted. So I think I'm sorted for the next few pages. So what I'm going to do, what I've just done is I've just made this into a little booklet, really, because there were so many of them. And I thought, well, I may as well just make it into a little booklet. So I've just stuck a brad in the back there. What I'll do is stick some tape over that. Just some washi tape. And then that's complete. I'm just going to stick some washi tape over that first one. Give that a good press down, just so it doesn't catch on anything. And then I'm just going to pop that on the front cover with a clip. And that's how that's going to sit. And then on this first one here, page 1 and page 2, I'll keep my tabs for a bit. I'm going to put the ID cards that I made from Mandy's freebies, and just going to pop those on here like so. So there's the 2 main, or 3 main characters, I should say. Now, I don't want that to be so high, but I want to be able to see that identity card. So I'm just going to pull that down to the end there. I'm going to pop those on as pockets. So I think what I'll do is I'll use art glitter and just pop these on. I've inked all around it. And if you haven't seen the video yet, go across and see the video. Mandy talks you through and shows you how to make them with the stamping and stuff. It's not a very long video, it's about 25 minutes, I think. So I'm just going to pop that on and do that. Just going to squeeze that together a little bit, just so that it opens the top of this pocket just slightly. I hate a tight pocket, it drives me mad. I'm going to pop this one on first, and the glue's decided to pack up. Let's see, there we go, just down there. And then if I want that to be in line with that, I want this one to come about there. So I'm just going to pop that down to there, as straight as I can get it. That's straight. Same with this one. And then all I need to do then is just pop some journaling cards in there. Now, I did with 2 of them. Just make sure that's on. I did with 2 of them make, oh no I didn't. Oh I did, I made that one a pocket. Did I make that one a pocket? I also made these pockets. Well, I thought I did. Yeah, this one's a pocket. I put one down, this one's a pocket. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pockets there. So we're just going to stick some journaling cards in for now. Now I have prepped all of these. Some I've left the corners off to make pockets with. So I thought we'd stick that in there because that's him. I think I'm just going to put the white rose cottage in there with a tag. And we just need to find one of tuppence. There you go. Find one of tuppence. Then with that one, I think we'll put that in there just to show that that's a pocket. And then I've got a small one of Libby, which I'll pop there. And then I've just got some tags. So we'll just grab one. I just need to just go around the edge of that. I also need to stencil on the back of these because I haven't completed them all, but I can do that off screen. Now, in the kit, there is ones that do that, which I could actually do just to put that back on. I shouldn't have probably cut them all off, to be honest, but I wasn't thinking about it at the time. I just didn't want to cut around it because I didn't know how they were going to sit in my... I'm sure I had 3 of them, but I could actually pop that onto there. In fact, we'll do that because it will just make more sense. So we'll just do that with the... Oh, I don't need it on the back there, do I? So I'm just going to pop that onto there. There we go. And I think that's all. I think I'd call that done, to be honest. I don't really think it needs anything else, and I think that sort of gives that a nice introduction into the introduction of the story. And then on this one, I just wanted to have something on there, like notes or something. Now I have got some words from a different kit, but I don't think it's got any notes on there. We could put case, although I've got a stamp. I think I've got a stamp, but it'll be finding it. I I've got a stamp on one of them that says case file. Let's use that. I'll just get me a stamp. And I want it in black, I think. It says case file, and we could always put a number on there as well. So I'm just going to put case file there. This is the trouble because I've got something behind it. Well, it doesn't matter. We can cope with that, and I just need to find a number. Case file. And then if we find a number there, I've got something flat underneath. And then just so that we can there we go. I'm quite happy with that, and I don't think it really needs much else. We can put or add to it at a later date. So I think page 5 is done as well. I've just got some bits there that I thought might be of some use maybe later. Page 7 is actually done, and I don't think it needs anything else on there realistically. So the next page number we're looking for is page 10. Which is this one. And I'm thinking really just either, yeah, we've got some corner pockets, haven't we? Some little ones, little tuck type corner pockets somewhere. Where did I see them? I've just had them. There. So we could stick one of those there. Or 2 of those there. That would look nice, wouldn't it, I think? Yeah. Might do that for page 10. And then at least we're using the ephemera as well. And then we need to just find something to go inside. I need to come right down a bit. Yeah. Oh, that was quite nice, doesn't it? At least it leaves that focal point there. Now we could either stick some... I want to put cards in there really, because I think... There we go. Just a couple in. Different size ones, just to give it a little bit of dimension. I like that. You can always add more to these. So that'll hold quite a bit because it's got the gussets on. So that's page 10. And then our next one, I think, is this kitty one, which is page 17. I'm unsure what to do with this one. I'm thinking maybe a belly band. Maybe. Because we haven't got a belly band. What's the next bit? Is the centrepiece. No, I did have a leather belly band, didn't I? That I could make into a little belly band, just so that I don't cover those up, or you can still see the majority of the frame. So yeah, I think I'll do that. I do the same with my belly bands actually as I do with my pockets, is I pinch them in so that it's not a completely flat feature. But I do want something on the front there. So we'll have a look through the ephemera. Don't know. I've got that and I've got this. They need backing now, I think, on some card. There's the briefcase, so it's too big, isn't it? What does that look like? I quite like that. I think that's quite nice. But again, I think these need to be backed onto some card. And It's just that I want to try and keep the picture from, you know, the behind picture. And I quite like that. So I've got those. I wonder if they'll go in there now. Did I do it the right size? I did. So that will fit in there. And that will go in there. And this one's going to fit in here. And that one's going to go in there as well. More bits off of there. I don't think I inked that belly band, did I? Oh. Yeah. And then what I need to do is, I just need to glue that on. I want to go sideways. So I just want a little bit on. And you can put more in there if you want to. I like that. That's quite nice, isn't it? The way that's come out. So on to the next one, I think. So that was page 17. So 24-25 is our double page spread. Now I'm not really sure whether I want to cover it up. So we might come back to this bit. I'm thinking of something maybe with an envelope. Maybe not detachable, but something similar. So page 39. Now this has got something at the bottom, so I don't really think that we're going to be able to do too much unless we use another belly band. What have we got left to do? 44. Yeah, see, that can go, and then you need to double spread there. I think we'll do another belly band, but we'll do a wide one because I'm not bothered about the picture. We've got this picture further down. So I'll do a wide belly band and we'll put a large journal card in there. So I'm going to need some papers. Now, because there wasn't much in the papers on this particular kit, there's only the two liner papers for the inside of your journals. So I've got some papers that were left over from my chapter 1, which we could use, but I've also printed off a couple of different papers from a kit. So we've used this already in the beginning, which is fine. And then I've got these ones from another detective kit, and that's quite nice. I like that. I printed the blue because we've got a blue inner for one of the journals, and it happens to be this one. So I didn't think that would be too bad. And then I also got some newspaper print. Now I know it's got New York Times on the top, but I could eliminate that. And I quite like the look of that, actually. But we've also got a map piece. But you can just use whatever you have. I quite like the idea of the newspaper print. So I'm going to go with something like that for now. Obviously, you just use whatever papers that you have at hand. I mean, you can use the kit papers. There's no real reason why you can't. This would be quite nice as a belly band or an envelope or whatever it is that you want to make. I do quite like that. I'll put that upside down, unfortunately. And I know it's there, but you can't really tell. So I'm going to cut a piece of this off. Now, it would fit that way. So I'm going to cut it. I don't really want to cut it that way, though. I want it to be straight. So I'm going to cut me a piece off, which I think is 8. So I'm going to cut a piece off that is 8. I'll have to measure it, won't I? Because I can't do it on there. So if I take it from the bottom so that I don't get that title in, and then just measure that and cut that there, then I can use this trimmer, save getting my big one out. So I'm just going to take that off there, get it as straight as I can. Take that off. Keep that, might come in for something. And I still need that because I want to make about a 3-inch, but we'll see where that comes on that page. So a 3-inch, yeah, because it gives you that in the middle then, thereabouts. So I'm going to take off about 3 inches and make a 3-inch belly band, because we'll embellish or make some pockets for it, I think. So this is going to go on like this. And then I think we could possibly make a journal card with that, with the spyglass on maybe. Now I have already creased this, but we can deal with that if I back it. Yeah, might do, because it'll fit nicely in there. So we'll ink this up and get the belly band on. Make sure it's the right way up. And I want to try and centralise it in the middle of that page. I'm only guesstimating. Just going to pull it down just a tad, just to give it a bit of a bump. I just like to do it. I don't like things that are completely flat on my page. I just think it hinders everything. Makes it a lot more difficult to and enjoyable to look through. And then I think we'll do a large journal card with that poking out. I quite like that. I can put a tab on it as well, which would look pretty neat. So I want it to sort of fit the whole of the page. I'll just leave it a little shy of the spine. So I'm just going to come into about there. If you prefer, 2 different ones or even 3 different ones, then you do that. It's all down to personal choice. I'm not showing you how to do it. I'm just giving you some ideas, realistically. Could have done with that being a little bit bigger, but I think it's big enough, to be honest. So I'm just going to ink that quickly. And then I think what I'll do is I'll just pop a tab on there. Yeah, quite like that. And I think I'll stick it on with an eyelet. Well, I'll glue it on, but I'll stick it on with an eyelet. So we've popped the eyelets in, and that's all that really needs, I think. So 39, so if we close that, you'll just see that coming out of there. Always pull it to the end if you want to. We could always stick a dangle on there if we want to, but we might be adding more tabs as yet, so I'll wait and see. If you find that your belly band, once you've made it so that it sticks up, I do it because I don't like to, when they're like this, it's hard to get them in and out. Not in and out, but it's hard to get them in sometimes. And, I much prefer it when it's slightly loose. 1, you can get more things in, and 2, you can always tighten it up. And the way to do it is, once you've decided what's going in, if you wanted to put this down here, for instance, or even up here, you can just dab a little glue extra here so that the space that goes into can't actually, it can't fall down. And it stops that from wiggling around, but it still gives you enough, room to add more into it. So you could add way more into that if you wanted to. So these are my blank pages again, and we come to number 44. Now I'm just going to do probably a pocket on here is the easiest thing to do, purely because I'd like to keep the pictures. I just think it looks better. So we're going to need some more patterned paper. I don't really want to keep using the same one, something different maybe. And I do quite like the look of this. I think that's quite nice with the cottage, the damask. So we're going to do that. I'm going to cut my pocket off however tall I want it, which I don't want it very tall, do I? Let me just have a quick look. So I don't want it to come up above that picture. So we only want about a 3.5 inch at tops. So we'll go with 3.5 inch because we can always cut it down. So I'll do that one, and then we're going to need to cut it again in just a sec. So that's going to come to the bottom there, which is perfect. So what I want then is, want it up, was it 5.5? I think it was 5.5. 5.5. So I want it at 6.5, but I want it slightly shorter than that because I don't want it to go right the way across because of the way it bends on my sewn in part here. Because of the pages are getting fuller now, it's bending. So what I'd like to do is just bring it in just slightly. So I'm going to do it at 6.25. So I'm going to do half there. I'm not going to bother with the bottom, that can stay flat. And then it needs to be cut at 6.25, so I need to come in half there. And then I'll cut that off at 6.25, which is about there. Put that away and this away. And then we're just going to crease those in with your bone folder. Give it a quick check. That's perfect. That's the way I wanted it. So I'll come to the end of the page because it'll give the edge of the page stability, but I don't want to come to the end of here. So that might be perfect there. So I need to ink it. And I think we will put a notch in this one. I did forget. I said I was going to do it and then I forgot on the first pocket we did. But it doesn't actually warrant it. But I don't know whether I'd rather use tabs, you see. So I'm thinking leave it for now. And then I can make a decision once I know what I'm doing with the other pieces. So we're just going to glue that in with art glitter. What I tend to do first is open it up and just run all the way down here. Just so that it catches those end bits there. And then run a bit of glue up that end. And a bit of glue up that end. And then we can just pop that into place, close to the edge as possible, without going over. And then we'll just put that bottom in, squeeze that in just a tad. Doesn't need much because it's got gussets. Like now. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty. And then I think we'll just have some more tags and things in here. Let's see what tags we've got. We've got the doggy, and then they're plain ones, aren't they? So I think we'll use the ones with the pictures on because they're quite nice. I need to just ink around and get rid of that white edge. It's only where I've backed them. Okay, so that's that one. What I'll do to the back is I'll stencil and ink when I come to finish it all off. And then I think we need something on the pocket. So with the bits of ephemera that we've got, let's just have a look what we've got. Now we have got some ripped leather And I wouldn't mind having sort of that across there. It'll need that cutting. Oops. It'll need that cutting off straight. And then that could go across the top there. And we could rip that bit off. I didn't do that very straight, did I? I think I need to do that on the trimmer. So, oh dear, that was way off. I tell you what, I cannot cut a straight line. And then it needs to be, what did we do it at? 5 1/4. So if we pop that end in there, I think it was 5 1/4 we did the pocket at. So we'll put that there. Because it's already ripped, we don't need to do anything to that. That's fine. That'll work. It's still not straight. I don't know what's going on. But that'll work for me. So I just need inking again. I'm on page 44. So I think what I'll do is I'll do this one now. We'll get this cluster on and then we'll end the video there for today. And then what I'll do tomorrow is we'll finish off. We'll do the centre spread, and we'll do a flip through and then add to the blank pages or the blanker pages. I'm just going to glue this on. I'm going to use a bit of collal just so that I've got a bit of wiggle room because it just doesn't look straight. Okay. And but yeah, that's what I think I'll do for today. So we'll get that on. There we go. Get that nice and flat. Make it sure it's at the top. So I didn't put a notch in it now. Well, we can still put a notch in it if we want to or decide to. So the other pieces of ephemera are labels, and we could put a nice label on. We've got some little writing spaces, but I think they're too big now. And we've got a typewriter, which would be quite nice actually. There's a little bit of a ephemera there, but I don't really want to cover this up. We've also got another suitcase, another file case. We could put another pocket on there. So I don't know about that. Label, that envelope wouldn't fit. These are things that really need to go together. That's the other ID card. So I think what we'll do is we'll pick something from this. Now I think we could do quite a nice little cluster with that. And because we're getting towards the end of the signature, I think that'd be okay actually. So I think we'll do a little bit of a cluster. What shall we have? We'll have a bit of this. I've got a small piece. There's a small piece. I ironed it all and wrapped it up, so it's sort of all higgledy-piggledy. Well, let me put my ink cover on. So let's just cut that off, and yeah, I'll stretch that out. We could pop that on there. We could pop this here. I can always cut pieces off if it's too much. And then we could do with, what else could we do with? Let's see what we've got in the extra bits. So we've got numbers. We've got a couple of tags. We've got a little photo which could be used for something. I don't really want to put suspects in that one yet. I have got a distressed piece of ephemera there, so maybe that might be enough just to do something small with the number 6. And then pop this end, and then pop this over here. Yeah, I quite like that, but I want a piece of ribbon, not ribbon, I'll show you what I mean. I keep all my label things in here, and I have these sort of end ribbons. There's a small one. That's all we need. Okay. And then I think we'll just have that coming out of there. Yeah, I like that. So let's get that down. So I'm just going to use a bit of colour just to get that material on. I might need to cut a bit off actually. Let's just take that off. And just sort of go up there a little. And then this goes on, doesn't it? It's going to go on about there. Then we're popping this on. I'm going to pop that skew width there, so we'll stick her on. Luckily all this has been inked. I sat there and inked while I was watching telly the other night. I sort of want that out. So we'll stick this piece on next. Although that's got to go in, hasn't it? So if that's going to come to about there, I want this to come right to the end. Okay, just need to lift that up a little bit. And then I want this on. That's going to come to the end of there, just to show that little bit of frame. And then I just want this on. So I'm just going to stick a bit of it on the back and the front, because I want to stick to both pieces. And I'm just going to have that poking out there, like so. That's okay. Quite like that. So it's just made me realise that I didn't actually do anything with the belly band. So I've found a few bits and pieces so that we can just get that done. So what I'm going to do is just pop some bits and pieces on here. Some of them are out of this kit and some of them aren't. So I think I'm going to do it a bit like this. I like this. And I want that shown. I want to stick that on there, and I broke the cord. I want that to go to the top of there. And then I'm thinking that I want the typewriter on. And then I've got this piece here, which I think I'll just stick there. And then I've got some words. So I think I'll get that glued down. And then at least we've got to a stage where we've, embellished as well as created the belly bands or pockets. Oh, that's quite cute. I like that. So, yeah, I think we'll leave it there for today. So I hope you found that useful. Thank you for watching. I do really appreciate it. Go across and support Mandy and the group, which is Junk Journal Fixed with Sunflower Indoors. The kit is absolutely gorgeous. And then we'll come back tomorrow and we will finish page 47 and 48 and our middle. And then we'll go through and the middle. So that's all that's left to do with the pages. Then what we'll do is we'll have a flip through and we'll just check whether we want any of the plainer pages decorated in any way. And then that will be our first signature and our first week completed. So, yeah, hope you'll come back and join me, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.